What's up guys, this is Chris from Honest Outlaw, and today we're going to be doing a fun video. Fun for me. Not only are videos usually fun for me, this one's going to be especially fun for me because today I'm going to be testing some of my own personal equipment, and this isn't really going to be as much of a review as it's going to be a vetting process for some of my equipment, and we'll talk about some of it along the way, and a lot of this stuff will eventually be reviewed down the road. That being said, I'm going to be doing some shooting drills today with one of my personal guns, well, two of my personal guns, my Wilson Combat 1911, which is in the bag over there, which you've seen before. I'm actually going to be testing my Safariland QLS holster setup. I'm trying to create a universal belt system. We're going to be running a Mars carrier on the front, and then I forget what the hell this is. It's a PMag mag pouch on a War Poet belt. But the main thing that we're going to be testing out here, if I can get my sling unstuck there, is my BCM 12.5. Now this is running on my SBR loader. You guys have seen it before, but it has an all new paint job, and this actually is a gun that is mine and mine alone. Built through years and years and years of figuring out which products I like the best. And make no mistake, there's no price limit on this particular gun. This is going to be one of my main training guns, like my BCM 14.5 and my BCM 11.5, except for this guy is going to get, instead of, those two are basically going to be retired from testing, whereas this one's going to kind of pick up the mantle, and this is going to be most of the parts that I really like with test products on it. And I'll give you an example of that. The rifle itself is going to remain the same, and basically we're going to be doing optic testing on it, light testing on it, and then accessory testing on it. So we'll go through it from top to bottom here, and then we'll go out and shoot it, shoot a couple hundred rounds through it, or at least 100 rounds through it, do some pistol transition drills, and some fun stuff, and we'll just talk about what I like and don't like. Now understand that I did just build this, so if we do have some reliability problems, we'll have to tune the gas block. It's got a whole tune system in it. It's not like a standard AR-15. So at the front there, we have the Lantac Dragon, and that's just simply because I've got a lot of those and I like those. Those are my competition brake. That's going to be switched out here pretty quickly for a flash hider, and then right after that a V7's Furion. I do a lot of brake reviews, and I'm going to be doing some videos on the Patreon channel and stuff like that. We also have the Mini Scout here I got from Brownells. We'll be doing a video on that here in a little bit. V7's rail, which I absolutely love. I love V7's rails, and it's an M-LOK rail. It's an 11.5 on a 12.5 Criterion barrel. I love the BCM barrels, but I wanted to try something new, so we got this 11.5 or 12.5 Criterion barrel, partly because of Mil-Spec Mojo's video on it, and I wanted to try one out. Supposedly super accurate, and so far it has been. You've already seen this, at least some of the Patreon guys, some of the Instagram guys have already seen this gun once with this optic setup, and my wife and I were able to hit a target at 400 yards all day, no problem. So the 12.5 doesn't limit you range, it just limits your effective range of your ballistic capability. Make no mistake though, you hit somebody at 400 yards with this, they're still going to notice. Now we have a vertical grip on there because it is an SBR. That's a BCM angled vert grip. We have an adjustable SLR gas block on there to be able to tune our action. We have a BCM upper with a 2A armament lower and a Geisley 2-stage trigger with a badass arm safety, and the new Magpul XL grip, which is my favorite grip. Oh my god, I love this grip. I've been waiting for them to make a vertical gripped large grip for a really long time, and bam, they made it, and I bought literally like 9 of them. I like the 2A armament Balios Light lower because it is a little bit lighter than a standard lower, just as reliable, and it does come with the beveled magwell, and it already comes with the trigger guard already installed, obviously, because it's a part of the actual unit itself, and I don't like putting those in, so good to go there. It also has a little bit easier means of putting in some of the controls as well. As far as the controls go, I think that most of them are V7s. We have a V7's buffer tube and a JP adjustable low mass system in there with a JP bolt carrier group. Now what that does is it lowers the overall weight of the gun, but it also lowers the reciprocating mass, allows you to tune it per your ammo type, which I like a lot. AR-15s are very reliable guns, but they aren't always reliable with, you know, 45 grain frangible all the way up to 77 grain, and I like to have my guns for specific purposes. I have a lot of rifles, and a lot of them are designed for a very specific purpose, and I like to tune them to how I like them to feel. On top of that, the silent captured system in the back of the buffer tube allows you to have a silent action when it goes through. You don't get a lot of the banging around, and that's kind of nice. Standard B5 stock on the back here with my standard Blue Force gear, padded Vickers sling, which is still my all-time favorite, although we got some sling reviews on the way from War Poet and a few other things. What's riding on top there is going to be the Collis K6i. It is a 1:6 scope. It is a very premium scope, arguably the best 1:6 scope. It's very, very lightweight. It has amazing glass and awesome ballistic reticle, but it is very pricey at around $2,000 and comes with the included fin, and the adjustment on the Collis is so fast. It's kind of interesting to me because a lot of people will run a 1:6 and they'll run an offset red dot, and the damn thing is so hard to turn. They just leave it on 8 and they run the offset red dot, whereas a K6i, it can be 1 or 6 power at the blink of an eye, and I like that. We're running it in a QD ScalarWorks 30mm mount, which I believe is the best mount on the market, especially for the weight, and we'll be doing a review on this shortly as well. That being said, I really want to shoot this bad boy, and but I guess before we do, I want to mention why I made the thing. This is more of a do-it-all rifle, and that's really hard to do. You know, if you're looking for a CQB gun, that's easy to make. A standard 16-inch rifle is usually a pretty good do-it-all gun, but I wanted to have something with magnification that had a shorter barrel. I wanted to be able to CQB primarily with it, and the Collis K6i, even though it is a scope, it CQBs really, really well. Close quarters, target transitions are very easy because the glass is very clear, it has a great eye box, and it lends itself very well to close quarter shooting. And then if you want to go to 400, 600 yards, you can switch that over to 6 power, and you can engage those targets really easy. Now, the 12.5 works really well up close and intermediate range, but you have to remember the effective range of a 12.5 as far as like tumbling and doing all the fun stuff that 223 or 556 does. It only does that out to about 150, 200 meters depending on ammunition type. Now that's better than an 11.5 or a 10.5 or a fucking 9 or something like that, but it's still not as good as something like an 18 or a 20 inch, so it's always going to be a trade-off between maneuverability and ballistic capability. That being said, things I'm going to be shooting with this at distance are not going to be 2-legged creatures, they're going to be 4-legged creatures. You have to understand that I live on a farm. So a lot of my philosophy of use when I build guns is not just using it indoors in case I need to defend my home, but also using it outdoors for things like coyotes and stuff that bother our animals. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this build, and don't just build a gun just because somebody that you watch builds it. Make sure to build it out for your own specific use that you have for the gun. Now before we go shoot it, I want to mention the page supporters. None of this could have happened without you guys. I really appreciate you supporting the channel and buy guns and ammo and accessories and all kinds of stuff. So if you think that I'm worth supporting, go down to the description and click the link and donate. I'd appreciate it. Also in that description is a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It's the YSS. They could really use your support. And finally, I want to thank True Shot. They helped support some of the ammo. They sent me 1,000 rounds of 5.56. That's very expensive in 2022, so big ups to them for sending me over that. And that is the ammunition that we'll be shooting in this bad motherfucker today. Okay, I'm super low. I'll have to print it.
Okay.
And I'm out.
Oh, oh. Man, you're looking pretty sexy.
Am I?
With your lime green shoes and your knee pad and... We've already checked for dog poop. God, you're so hot. Go.
The 1911s are not useful anymore, I heard on a YouTube video. Not enough ammo. Works for me.
Listening to the AR go off,
the 1911 is just a little poof.
It's like a gentle round. Go.
I'm too big for this shit. Low as I'm going.
Isn't this called a Viking tactical barrier?
It is, a VTAC barrier.
Wouldn't they make it big enough for real Vikings?
I don't think they had giant Iowa people in mind.
All right, tell us about this.
All right, so I'm trying a ton of new shit today. I just got some new running shoes, and I know that they look kind of stupid, but they're for trail running, and I just want to try them today. Super untactical, especially with all my tactical stuff that I'm using today. One of those things is the VTAC Barricade with Ho written on it, because Honest Outlaw, shortened up, is Ho, and that's really why I chose it, because we're both hoes. But VTAC Barricade is very famous in a lot of shooting competitions and mainly in tactical training. The US military has them, the Marines have them, Special Forces have them. It's a big deal. Viking Tactics is an awesome training company, by the way, if you go check it out. They invented this, and it's supposed to simulate just tons of different shooting positions, really, and you can work it tons of different ways, mainly just running the ports or mainly just running the sides or whatever you want to do. I'm new to it. I've only ran one a couple of times, to be honest, and it's very, very practical. So I just decided I'm gonna run it a little bit more in videos and run it in my own time and get better at it, you know. Another thing I want to get good at is gonna be plate rack. That's gonna be another focus of this year, and then hopefully down the road we'll get a spinner as well. get one from MGM, pretty legit one. Shot one of those in one competition once, totally sucked. That's certainly a learning curve. Everything is about trying it and getting better at it. Just because you're a good marksman doesn't mean you're gonna be good at everything you do. I'm not the most fast, agile, small, nimble, flexible guy in the world, so we're gonna be working on that a little bit, and we're also gonna be trying out some new gear. I got the old school Blade Tech holster on the new QLS system, and I'm gonna be trying that on a bunch of different guns as well, and then running some different pouches and stuff like that. Also,
what gloves are you wearing?
These are Pig gloves. They're just the Pig Alpha, I think, or Pig Beta. I'm not sure what the hell they are, but we'll leave a link in the video. Everybody seems to want them, and they're awesome. They're full dexterity gloves.
We won't leave a link in the video. We'll have it on our newsletter list.
Oh, okay.
Join the newsletter list at honestoutlawreviews.com.
That's not my thing. I'm the talent. I'm just the dumb face in front of the camera.
Okay.
The gun performed really, really well. I obviously didn't get a chance to try the light out. I always think the light's funny because I have to push the light so far forward when you have a limited rail system, because I'm a big dude, and you push it right into the brake, and the brake covers up the light, and then when you want the light, it doesn't work anyway. That being said, it still kind of works. But the light was not tested, but the barrel was extremely accurate. We're shooting super tight groups at 50 yards. Really easy to hit. Collis is a phenomenal scope. The ScalarWorks is a phenomenal mount, and this is an absolutely phenomenal gun. With a brake, there's fucking no recoil, none. It felt like shooting a 22. It's not because it's just a 12.5, but it does help. That's less recoil than a 11.5 or a 10.5, but it's due a little bit to the brake, don't get me wrong, that does help, but it's mainly due to the tune system. They're expensive to run a JP bolt and to run a JP buffer tube system and then an adjustable gas block, but if you do that, you can tune it to the specific ammo that you have. And there's a couple of cons and a couple of pros to that. The pro is very low recoil. The pro is you can tune your system to your particular type of ammo. The con is that usually you limit the gas, which limits the recoil, and then if you run a lower type of ammo like Tula or Wolf or something like that, the gun may not work. The plus to that is that you can just turn it the fuck up, or you can change the weights. So your gun is essentially infinitely reliable for any type of ammunition, but you do have to pay for it. So it's a cool system, and I love it in my rifle. I can't afford to put it in all of my rifles, obviously, but this is gonna be one of my main squeezes, to quote Mil-Spec Mojo. So yeah, love it. Absolutely perfectly capable, 0 to 500 meters.
Do you want to tell them about the paint job?
Yeah, I did that myself with a rattle can and a laundry bag. So one of the things I really liked about today was I got to test this belt out. Now this belt is from the War Poet, John Lovell, and I like it a lot because it's got this Cobra clip on it, but it also has the elastic system inside. So you can run the inner belt and an outer belt just like you run it in a competition belt, like if you run a double alpha, which I'm very familiar with, but it also has MOLLE on it, so you can put your pouches on it. And it also is not like unbelievably sturdy. Like a lot of my competition belts, including the double alpha, I couldn't even get holster systems on it that have to allow the belt to move. And on top of that, I noticed when we were doing a lot of work, we're dragging the barricade, and we were moving a lot of shit out of the garage, and I actually forgot this was on. And this thing's so flexible. It's not flexible where you don't want it. It's sturdy where you want it and flexible where you want it. And it would move with me, and I didn't notice it was on there at all. We were moving ladders, we were moving the barricade, we were moving all kinds of stuff. I did squat, I did deadlift, and I didn't notice this belt at all. And in the actual operation of running the gun and everything, I didn't notice it at all either. I'm really impressed with this, I gotta say. Out of all the things I've tried from War Poet, this is up there. If you're looking for a belt that does a lot of stuff, well, this is a good one to go for. All right, so this is kind of culmination of like one of the first loadout videos we've ever done. And what I mean by that is like, I kind of did a super all-American loadout today, and it wasn't on purpose. This is just my favorite guns. AR-15 is my favorite rifle, 1911 is my favorite pistol. And I got to run it anywhere from 50 to 100 yards today, pretty consistently, and it ran really, really well. One of the things I've noticed about the gun that I don't absolutely love is that the trigger pins do walk on me a little bit, and it did happen again. So I'm gonna have to put anti-walk pins into this lower, which I've done in the past, not the biggest deal, but that's the only failure point I really saw today. The sling mounts worked really well, the grip is in the right spot, and when you build a gun, not only do you have to shoot it in a bunch not only do you have to shoot a bunch of rounds, but you have to shoot it in a bunch of different positions as well to see if the controls and ergonomics still really work for you. That was one of the things I noticed about the more vertical grip. It was easier for me to shoot in different positions with it, to be honest with you, including like to the side and over the shoulder, like I forget what that high ready position is, but shooting like that, and then figuring out where to mount your glass as well. Like your cheek position in prone might not be the same cheek position if you're in rollover prone, or if you're sideways, or if you're using a barricade. So I got to vet a little bit of that, change a little bit of that, and I'm pretty happy with it. One of the things that's going to change on this gun is the brake is going to get removed. For actual self-defense purposes, you don't really want to brake. If you have to shoot this in your house, the whole world is going to notice. And that might be good if you're in a neighborhood. I've heard that argument a lot. I've heard the argument that, you want your neighbors to hear it, but I don't have neighbors that would hear gunfire. If they did, they would call the cops every day because we shoot every day at my house. So suppressor for me for home defense, but again, that whole debate about suppressor versus no suppressor, that's up to you and the place where you live and the caliber and the size of gun that you use and all that stuff. If you're using a dedicated 9mm PCC, you probably don't need a suppressor, right? But if you're using a shorty 5.56 with a brake, wow, that's going to be real loud indoors, especially something like a 308 for that matter. If you're using a SCAR 16, everyone in the building's going to be deaf. Or SCAR 17, sorry. My SCAR 17 is unbelievably loud. But that being said, this is a really good interpretation of what I was trying to build originally, and that was a do-it-all. I actually had a dream where I had to, the closest town to my house is like 7 miles away, and I had a dream it was like a post-apocalyptic, and what would I want, Well, I would want something short, that's suppressed, that has multi-optic capabilities, That's kind of a dumb way to say I wanted a variable optic. So you could use 1 power for close range in tight stuff, and you could also use not just 6 power. A lot of people consider 6 power for shooting at distance, but the reality is most of that's just scouting and getting information. You could use it as a binocular, which I've done many times during hunting trips. You just use your scope to glass. That's what you do. And I like having the capability on the gun, so I don't have to carry a pair of binoculars if I choose not to. Now that being said, you can't point a scope at everything you can point binoculars at, keep that in mind. But it still is an extra capability that I like. And I have my favorite scope on there and my favorite mount with my favorite barrel and favorite rifle setup currently. And I'd have to say that if I'm leaving the house to go shoot at the range for fun, I think as of right now, this is the one I'm taking. So take that for what you will. Use the parts whether you like them or not. There'll be individual reviews of a lot of these, but just letting you know now, everything that I have on this gun is good to go. And I love the brake for range use and for competition use. And make no mistake, there's a lot of 12.5 SBRs and stuff and AR pistols in 3-gun competitions, because 12.5 will reach out to 300-400 yards easy, and it will also navigate barricades and obstacles very well. So it solves a lot of problems, and overall for tactical use, slide the brake off and put a suppressor on, or in the case of me, well, I'm going to eventually get a suppressor mount for my Lantac brake for my Dead Air Nomad, and I'll be able to just put my suppressor on and off when I choose, and then it will be the ultimate do-it-all rifle. So far so good. I'm going to shoot more, and you'll probably see more of these loadout videos, and you'll probably see a few more with this gun as well, maybe with a couple different sidearms. We'll have to see. Let me know in the comments whether you like this. Let me know what stuff in this video, since I covered a lot, you want to see future videos of, or if you don't. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please support your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.